The Golden Record is the third part of the Lebanese Rocket Society project. The Lebanese Rocket Society project is a multi-layered project. There is a film, a documentary length feature, long length feature, and also several artworks. It's part of our history. Actually, we discovered some years ago that in Lebanon there was a space project in the 60s, from 60s to 67, a group of students from the Haigazian University, led by their professor of mathematics, Manoug Manougian, conceived, produced, and launched more than 10 rockets for space exploration. When we discovered this story, it was really something that was unimaginable in Lebanon. People not even forgot it, but even were considering that this is impossible. It was like a joke. So for us, it was not just retelling the story, but also trying to re-embody it and re-actualizing this tribute for dreamers.
The big question was, why did we forget this project? It's a positive project, it's a scientific project, and it was very strange for us to think about the fact that there was images, there was all the facts, 10 rockets were launched, and yet it was totally disappeared from our memories. So we thought about it like maybe we couldn't conceive ourselves as people that once made this research project, and we wanted to work on several projects and several artwork. Because when we began working with for the film, we discovered so many materials, so many stuff that we really wanted to show them in different way and question the construction of imaginaries that we have, the writing of our history, and the perceptions that we have of ourselves, not only that others have of us. And while we were talking with all the people, the scientists who participate to this project, they told us that when they launched the rocket, they had to follow the rocket. So they put a transmitter in the head of the rocket. And we don't know if the story said that there was a kind of transmitter that was sending a message like "Long live Lebanon" while the rocket was being launched. So we thought it was fun, a little bit nationalistic, but funny. And after that, we heard about this golden record that was sent in the 70s. In 1977 by American to go to like this kind of interstellar bottle where there was like messages from the Earth, images and sound. And we were very interested to know how they selected those images and sounds that are supposed to represent the Earth and human beings and send it as a message of peace for extraterrestrial lives.
What is funny is that this guy, Carl Sagan, who was in charge of this project, was a skeptic, meaning that he was not believing in aliens, in the existence of aliens, but nevertheless he spent a whole part of his life conceiving a message for nobody. So for us, immediately it referred to an artistic practice and representation. So we decided to create the Lebanese Rocket's Golden Record.
And we thought of going and ask all the scientists that participate in this project, like, what are your sound souvenir, what is your memory but only based on sound of this period where you were conceiving this rocket? Because of course when they conceived those rockets, even if it was a scientific project, and it's not a Lebanese project, it's an Arab project, because there were people coming from all around the region, like Jerusalem, Jordan, Syria, Iraq. They were all here to work on this project. So there was this idea of representation of what we are as Arabs, and it's going, even if not all of them were Pan-Arabs, there was this idea of Pan-Arabism going on in the region. So we thought, like, what were their memory of that time? What is the audio memories that they had? And they told us about some of their memories.
So we conceived the Golden Record in 4 parts. There's 4 tracks. The first one is a tribute to the original Golden Record, where we are taking some element from it, like the voices, the small introduction in the 4 languages we are using in this project, meaning French, Arabic, English, and Armenian. It was also voices of heartbeat, sound of Earth. Nature. The second part is more, the second track is more linked on the space race in the 60s, because we have to imagine that the space race was one of the main issues about modernity in the 60s. Today it's maybe internet and new technology or things like this, but at that time it was really very challenging, especially between the Soviet and the US and all the rest of the world. The third track is linked to the political background in our region, the Middle East, concerning, for example, the rise of the pan-Arab ideologies and the rise of some movement.
Student movement, but also not only in the region, that moment where people would believe they were changing the world, there were like real alternatives, to come back to some of the ideologies, some of the thematic of those years, there's a revolutionary spirit that they have. Because you have to remember also that the Golden Record was made in 2011, 2012, so at a moment where there was something boiling also in that region, so we wanted to confront both of those ideas and see what is left from those revolutionary ideas and ideologies.
And finally, the fourth track is based on the souvenir of the member of the Lebanese Rocket Society and how they were remembering the sound. It's like a journey in Beirut through the 60s, but in the same time, it's very difficult to find tracks of the 60s and sounds in Lebanon.
Because all the sounds are from the 60s. It's not something that we recreated or reconstituted. We worked with Nadim Mshlawi and Studio DB, and together we really had to find sounds that were coming from that period exactly. When we finished the reconstitution of audio sounds with Nadim Mshlawi, we wanted to engrave a golden record. So this part was very important to us, to make this golden record and then to film it, because we didn't want to have this golden record because we were not sending this golden record, but we wanted to have a visual perception of what would be this golden record. So we filmed this golden record turning 20 minutes record.
And then after filming this, we did an After Effect to take out the arm of the diamond, so it's floating. What we are showing is a floating disc in the middle of a room, and on the wall you will see a print, a digital print of all the tracks that we used. Why we are using this print? It's because sometimes people are perceiving a sound without being able to recognize it. So we put nearly all our original soundtrack, where it's coming from, and you can recognize where you are in the soundtrack.
The image shows when you are working in an audio studio, you have those images, those waves, and we really always liked those waves because it's a kind of materialization of something totally immaterial that is sound. That you don't see, you just hear. So when you see those waves, you follow them usually while you are working. And underneath each wave, there is the sound, the source of sound. So it was interesting for us to print them and to give them like this materiality. And so people could follow where they are in the disc and how they can relate to those sounds. Because you have to give them also the historic moments that we are using. And so we print this. And for us, the golden record was an interesting materialization also. And if we removed part of it and make it like that floating, it's also because it's like a kind of history that is floating. We don't remember it very well. It's not totally concrete for everyone. So it was an idea also to not be having something totally realistic about it, but something that you feel strange about it. Is it the disc that is turning? Is it the film? So it was all this idea of having like a kind of fictionalization of what we were doing also.